Anora is undeniably Sean Baker's masterpiece. Not only is this his best film to date, but it might end up being his most important movie ever. Now look guys, I've always been a massive fan of Sean Baker. I think he's a brilliant director. He's always had this running theme throughout all of his movies where he takes a human approach and look at sex work, but he does it in such a way, that you connect with the characters and the story always remains pure. And I feel like, he deserves so much accolades for that. And I feel like this is the movie that, encompasses everything that he is as a director. I feel like this is the sweet spot. When the director, you know him for certain things, but then he just gets to that one movie that will set him apart forever and put him on a global scale. I feel like at the end of this year, everybody will know who Sean Baker is as a director. And it's great because now everybody can go back and revisit his work. Look, Anora is a masterpiece, guys. It's a beautiful film. It's a stunning, stunning movie. But personally, my favorite is the Florida Project. I feel like that is his magnum opus. I know people are calling this his magnum opus, but if you've always been a fan of Sean Baker, you know that is the one movie that, he just hits all the right notes. But he is a brilliant director. He's a very important director because, he tells stories that I feel like nowadays people won't go there with those stories. And, he takes a look at movies in such, a human way. Like he has a human perspective when it comes to storytelling, which just makes it so easy to connect with the characters. And what's brilliant is, he is not only the director, but he's also the writer. So that's a true testament to how great his writing is. And he always delivers, One thing I love about him is the fact that sometimes his conversations, you can get lost a little bit when the characters are having a conversation, but then he just bounces back and he hits you with the punchline where you're like, wow, I didn't expect that. And Anora is another fantastic movie, guys. Now look, Anora focuses on Annie. Now Annie is a sex worker at headquarters, so one night she meets this Russian, young kid. His name is Vanya, and that's where our story begins. They just end up hanging out. They strike a deal as to, be my girlfriend for a week and let's see what happens. She agrees to this, and then we get to the point where they actually get married. No, it's not a spoiler. They show it off in the trailer, but I feel like once we get to that moment, guys, that is stunning. And how I want to discuss this movie is the fact that I feel like this movie is basically split into two parts. We have the first act and then you have the second act. That's how I look at this movie. The first part of the movie is, it moves at a rapid pace. It's almost dreamlike. It's very euphoric. You are just, stuck in this wild ride that Annie finds herself in, when she meets Vanya and everything is going well, party life and doing drugs and I feel like the one thing that Sean Baker does very well in this movie is the fact that he dives straight into the sex work. He's not shying away from that. So right off the bat, when the movie begins, you already know immediately what you're getting yourself into. And I feel like that is brilliant, where by the time you get to actually them being together, it's something that you can look at and not be like, hey, what's happening here? So I feel like he leads with that, and then the rest of the story, actually just follows after that. So the first section is brilliant. It kind of reminds me of like, how Euphoria is. It's like a dreamlike state where Cinderella-esque, where if you're watching this, you're almost like, wow, is this really happening, or what's going on here? And I love that about the first act of the movie. But then, where the whole entire movie changes, like it feels like the movie changes completely, is after they get married. Like that first, day when they're at home and they're officially married, and then Vanya's family comes to realization, like, look at what this child did. He is a kid at the end of the day, so that just switches everything. And I'm not gonna go into that section because I feel like that is where spoilers and those things begin. But the second act of the movie is where, where reality sets in, reality strikes, and you're like, okay, now we are at this point where, you know what, this is serious. We thought this was just fun and games, drugs, booze, all those things, and let's go to Vegas. But when the dust actually settles on everything, I feel like that is where everybody's eyes just open. And that section of the movie is very intriguing to watch because, like, I feel like the first section is your comedy, and then the second act is like pure drama. And I feel like, look, Mikey Madison, guys, Mikey Madison is an absolute revelation as Annie. She is brilliant. I feel like she was born to play this role, because she understands the character. Sometimes the story and the pacing might be a little off, but she understands her character, and her performance elevates the material at certain points in the movie. That's why this is a perfect example. If you have a lead actor that actually carries a movie and makes the movie better than it actually is. She understands this character. She understands when to go, when to hold back, and I feel like she has to be up for Best Actress at the Academy Awards, guys, because the performance that she delivers here, it's, you immediately connect with her character, and to see this whole thing unfold, and it's like they say in the slogan, guys, when they do the trailer, it's pure movie magic. And I feel like Sean Baker captured all of that to absolute perfection, guys, And a criticism that I might have with the movie is, and I feel like that might be something that catches everybody off guard, is the fact that the pace at which the first section goes, the first act, and how it just slows down a little bit in the second act will be a little too much for people to get through. And that's just my personal opinion. That's like the only criticism I have with the movie. But other than that, guys, I can understand why this won at the best film at the Cannes Film Festival. It just makes sense. Watching this, you immediately get drawn into what's happening, the story, the acting. And Annie is the main character here, and you follow her on this journey, and it's just intriguing to watch how this whole thing unfolds. And I feel like Sean Baker, the ending that he served up here was perfect. The ending was perfect. It gives you something to think about. It makes you think about everything, the whole experience, the whole movie as an experience. And I feel like that is actually a great way to end a movie, where the last scene, the last frame hits you so hard that you're forced to think about the whole movie as a whole, and how did you get up to that point where that happens. I don't want to spoil it, guys, but wow, what a way to end the movie, guys. And I feel like this is definitely a movie that I feel like will have a big impact come award season. And the only movie I think that will, stop this movie from being a massive success is The Brutalist. I haven't watched The Brutalist yet, but I've been hearing a lot of good things about that. But I feel like this movie, Sean Baker deserves the accolades. Mikey Madison, cinematography, it's stunning. It's a beautiful movie, and it's a simple story, but it's told with such nuance and beauty that it's something that you have to behold, guys. This is easy for me, guys. Giving this movie a score, I'll definitely give Anora a 4.5 out of 5, guys. It's a movie that's almost perfect, anchored by a stunning performance from Mikey Madison. Sean Baker delivers one of his best movies ever. Like I said, the Florida Project is my favorite, but I feel like this is the sweet spot. This is the movie that's gonna put him on a global scale. Everybody will know who Sean Baker is, and they'll definitely be checking for his next movie, guys. Make no mistake. And I always say that this movie was done on a $6 million budget. and look at the impact that this movie has. You know, sometimes you don't need a massive movie to make an impact. You know, story, you know, the way it's directed, the acting. If you just add the main fundamentals to a movie, you'll end up with something incredible. And I feel like this is what Anora is, guys. If you haven't watched this movie, look, I understand that, you know, this might not be a movie for everyone. I understand that, but, you know, watch this movie. You know, Sean Baker, remember the name. This will make you go back and revisit some of his other movies, and you'll definitely be exposed to one of the great American directors working today. Red Rocket, you know, just go back. Tangerine, just, he is incredible, guys. Don't sleep on Sean Baker, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this movie does very well, guys. This is definitely up there as one of the best movies that I've watched this year. Please let me know what you guys think about this one. I would love to know what you guys think about this one. Comment down below. That's it for me, guys. Catch you on the next video.